Okay, hey guys. So today I've got Arvin Khamseh, and he helps people to hack their biology so that they can basically look after their bodies to be able to be as productive as possible in life. So thanks so much for being on today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's definitely a thrill to be part of this with you.
That's all right. So can you give everyone a bit of a background on how you got into this and I guess where you started?
Yeah, definitely. So I think my journey with personal development started years ago when I was about 8 or 9. I would see my mom reading one of Tony Robbins' books,
Yeah, cool.
and I would question about, okay, so who's this guy? What does he talk about? And she would tell me about how successful he was and he is still. And she would also tell me about how he owned this island. And out of all the things that my mom told me, I just thought owning an island is just definitely a great thing to do.
Yeah.
And just having an island and then inviting your friends and family over, party with them, and just have a good time with them. So that was my introduction to personal development. And then fast forward, I started reading and done a lot of reading and going to different conferences, connecting with these people doing world-class things, whatever field they're at. And then I did this program when I was reading one book a day, and I was sharing whatever I was learning with people. And then realized a lot of entrepreneurs and busy professionals, they were so busy, but they still wanted to take care of themselves, and they wanted to have their health and body as a priority. They wanted to protect their assets.
Yeah.
And so they would ask me about how I would do it and how I was still managing to take care of my body and also do every other thing I was doing. And so I would tell them about it, and they got a lot of values from phone conversations. And then I thought, oh, can I monetize this? And so I did.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. Cool. And so like reading one book a day, like are you speed reader or like that? I think that's
Yeah,
cool. How long did you do that
speed,
for?
speed reading and speed listening.
Yeah, cool.
And yeah, and so I started because I there was a time that I thought, so this is about 2 3 years ago. I thought I started reading books, and I was thinking, okay, I'm reading this one book, and immediately I can see the results of reading this book, the knowledge of getting from this book in my life. I
Yeah.
was like, this is addictive. I want to do a lot more than this.
Mm.
And so I thought, oh, can I do one book a week? I was like, okay, that's possible. And then can I do one book every couple of days? And can I do one book a day?
Yeah.
And that was a progression that I had. And then I was just seeing, okay, and I think my mindset was that, can I read all the books? Because I thought to be able to become an expert in something, you need to read all the books, not the important ones.
Yeah.
And so that was my mindset. And I was like, okay, then I have to be able to read quickly.
Yeah.
So that's where it came from. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. And I think with that, like, I've got so many business books and personal development books on my bookshelf that I've never read. And I'm like,
Mm.
and then I keep buying more because I'm like, oh, this one jumps out at me. So I've just
Right.
recently, like for a while actually, I stopped reading books. I stopped really following many people. And it actually worked really well because it helped me find my own voice and just take a lot of action.
Right.
I
Yeah.
think so many people can get caught up in the learning but not the doing.
Right.
But I think there's certain periods of our life where we're learning and then when we're doing more. And so at the moment, I'm actually reading. I've got 4 books on the go at the moment.
Right at the same
Um,
time. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I'm back into the reading and I'm
I,
loving it. Yeah.
yeah. And I totally understand. I think I actually made a video on my website about this, how we can become this mobile personal development library
Yeah.
and have all these books with us, all these knowledge with us, but then not doing much with them.
Yeah.
And so I also did develop that policy for myself that, like, when I go to conferences, if I learn something and I can't implement them,
Mm.
um, I'm not going to take notes on that. I'm just going to either implement it or just leave it.
Yeah.
and then move on to something else until like I'm done with, done with everything that I already have, as
Yeah.
opposed to like getting more info. Yeah. So I
Yeah,
totally
yeah,
get
totally. Because I think too many people have, yeah, they overcomplicate things. And I went to a talk last year with Richard Branson, who was amazing. And
right.
there's a juice company here called Boost Juice, and the owner of that was on stage, and some other people as well. And one
Right.
of the guys was talking about like the stock market, and it was like he was a great guy, and it was really interesting. But it's like not something that I need to know about. It's not on my path.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and going off that, I think I just recently heard Robert Greene, the author of Mastery. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
I've heard of the book. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and so he's a best-selling author, and he's just very. I love his style and what he talks about. And he was in his interview, he said there's some ideas in his book that are similar to what Malcolm Gladwell he
Yeah,
wrote in his book, but he didn't read that book
yeah,
because he thought that may influence him. So you
yeah,
said something about just finding your own voice and
yeah,
just knowing what you're going to bring to the table. I think that's also very important.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, cool.
Mhm.
Awesome. So can you tell everyone a bit more about what it is that you actually do? So those areas that you help with and why it's so important.
Yeah, sure. So I started doing a lot of coaching one-on-one, and then I realized that I can only take on so many people,
Yeah,
and doing one-on-one coaching. And so while I still do that, my main focus right now has been, just thinking about the bigger impact. So I created this online program where I have people just watch these daily videos and then get group coaching calls
yeah,
every 2 weeks. And so just based on all the consultations I've done, I created this structure where people can just go through it and not need me on a daily basis,
yeah,
and be able to still get the same results. And so,
yeah.
that's been my focus.
And so what are the things that you actually teach? Can you talk a bit about that?
In the online program? Yeah, sure.
Or
In the
like just
online,
I guess the topics that you like, what is hacking your biology? Like what does that mean for people that aren't?
sure. Yeah. And so, I think actually the intro video, I talk about how I actually describe my own lifestyle and then compare it to my previous lifestyle before knowing all these biohacks. And so right now it's, I wake up and just feeling so energetic. I feel rested from the night before.
Yeah,
And it comes like, let's say to 1 p.m., I still think I have a lot to do and I think I still can do them, as opposed to just saying, it's a lot of friends that I have, entrepreneurs, business owners, at 1 p.m. they are done.
yeah,
That's,
yeah,
and then, it comes to, let's say 2, 3 p.m. I see, maybe I have some meetings that I go to and there are unhealthy foods.
yeah,
And am I going to be pressured, or am I going to feel the urge to go on knowing that there's already a lot of stress, and also knowing that, there's social pressure, our willpower is limited, we can't just
yeah,
exercise it all day. Can I still go through that and just say, okay, I'm pretty happy with my healthy habits that I have in eating and exercising. And then, by the time that's 6 p.m., again, like those people who are not done by 1 p.m., they got it all the way to 6 p.m., then they're done.
yeah,
I still think that, okay, there's still time for the day. Can I re-energize myself?
yeah,
And then, so let's say I do breath scaling. I do 5, 15, 10 oxygenation. And I can tell you a little bit about that as well.
yeah,
So there's so many different things that you can do to generate the energy, as opposed to just stay with, wait for the energy to land in on you.
yeah,
If it's your diet, if it's your sleep, if it's your exercises, how can you maximize those? So that you can still run a business, you can still be a mom, you
yeah,
can still take care of everything else that you have, and then
yeah.
feel the difference as well.
Yeah, yeah. That's so cool because I think that's so important because I know for myself, I compete in powerlifting at a national level, and
Uh-huh.
so ever since I started powerlifting about 2.5 years ago, I put on a lot of weight, and a lot of it is muscle, but a lot of it is just eating too much food as well.
Right.
And then I know that when I get busy, sometimes I'll skip a meal or I'll eat something that's not the best thing that I could be eating.
Right.
So that's kind of, I've noticed that as I've got busier in business. But I do exercise a lot and I do get enough sleep. And I find a lot of people they'll have one of those areas or all of those areas will be messed up. Like they
Mhm.
think that they've got to work more. So that means less sleep and less time with their
Yeah.
family and less time looking after themselves, when really like what you do is focusing, making sure those things are right so that you can be more productive and have a better business and have a better life, right?
Right. And actually, you're saying that I was reading Essentialism, this book called Essentialism. I don't know if you heard about it this morning. And there was a chapter on sleep.
Yeah,
And just the author was talking about how exactly what you said. So sometimes entrepreneurs, business owners think, okay, they have to do everything, not the important things, but they have to do everything. And then
yeah,
they think, what's the first thing that we can just skip? Sleep. And
yeah,
then to be
yeah,
able to do more. And there's this guy who is nominated for the Young Entrepreneur Leader by the Economic Forum or something like that. I can't remember the exact name, but he's basically a very successful entrepreneur, very successful CEO, and he doesn't sleep for a couple of years, and just and then he has to go into this period of about a year of not doing anything, just resting,
wow.
and so that's and then he shares what he learned from that. It's like protect your asset. Sleep is important, your body is important. So yeah.
Yeah, totally. I think there's so much as well of this hustle mentality of,
Mm,
and I think it comes back from having an employee mindset where it's like, well, I've got to work more hours to make more money. Whereas as an entrepreneur, that's not the case. You can be smarter about it. And
right.
I really am seeing the trend in books that I'm reading and people that I talk to and things like that. I think over the next few years, it's really going to change where people just get too burnt out or sick or injured. And they're like, okay, there's got to be a smarter way. Like,
Right.
have you seen that trend starting to emerge as well?
Yeah, and I think I went through that myself.
Yeah,
I really thought there was a time that I really thought the more I do, the more results I get,
yeah,
and I don't think life is linear.
yeah,
It's
totally.
it's so much more complicated than just that simple. Just the more you do, the more results you get. And
Yeah,
so, as entrepreneurs, we just I think that's a great opportunity for us to just be like, okay, can I just do less? Can
yeah,
I do less work and then get the same results or more? And I've seen it with a lot of clients that I work with, and a lot of entrepreneurs in my social circles. They call it, they say actually being lazy is a good thing.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
actually a great thing because then you find the most effective, efficient way.
yeah.
And so that's exactly what I think as well. Yeah, I think the more you do doesn't mean the more results you get. I
Yeah,
totally get that.
totally,
Yeah.
totally. Because I know for me, like I've had stages where I love what I do, and I know you do as well. But because of that, it's so easy to get caught up in just working more and more. You just get.
Right.
I know I get on this adrenaline high when things are like going really well. Um,
Hmm.
but I've worked really hard over the last year and a half, almost 2 years, to build my energy and get those foundations in place, so that I can work less. Because I know when I'm burnt out and when I'm trying to just do more and more and more, I just can't even string a sentence together. And like, if you've got no energy for yourself, you're not going to be putting the best stuff out there anyway. Like,
Right.
yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit more about those areas? So I guess let's start with sleep. Like, what's your philosophy on sleep, and what have you done around that in your life?
Yeah. I've done a lot of experiments on sleep myself. So I tried to cheat sleep and it didn't work. And I think a lot of other people done it too. So
Yeah,
there was this study I actually learned from this guy who used to be used to be friends with a lot of Navy SEALs, and he used to be in the military himself, like being a private contractor.
Yeah.
And he told me about something they would do is so they would sleep. So they would actually stay awake, and then every 4 hours they would sleep for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And so they would get more hours during the day. And I tried that.
Yeah.
And first week I was like, oh my God, there's just so much more to do, and like this is so good. I have so many more hours.
Yeah.
And then I was looking at the results and the things that I had to redo.
Yeah.
Because it was just poor quality. And then I realized like that, no, that's not working.
Yeah.
And so I think that's how I started. And then right now I have a list of priorities on things I'm doing on a daily basis, and sleep, based on my habits, sleep is number one. So no matter what happens, I want to get either 6 hours or 7 hours and a half sleep.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is like it's a 90-minute cycle. So whatever helps out, and for individual person. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think? I know for me, if I sleep around 8 hours, the last couple of nights I've been sleeping 9 because I'm tired. I'm catching up. But I think I went out on Friday night, and I only got home about 12:30. But I just don't go out much anymore. I'm like 30 and I've got 2 young kids, so I don't go out like I used to. But so I think around 7 at the minimum for me, but around 8 is perfect. Do you think it's different from person to person? And also the other part of that question is, I find that if I go to bed at an earlier time, it's better than going to bed at a later time and getting the same amount of hours. Do you?
Absolutely. I was just going to say that. And I found the same thing. And also, so diet, going a little bit earlier. And then if you, based on your diet, if you take magnesium at night, if you control the temperature at night, so it's really cold, just for the night. And then I put it about, I think 62. It's a little bit colder than usual. And it's just, so there's so many different things you can do. And then you wake up and just feel so much more rested. And what you said about, okay, so you said 7 hours is your minimum, and then going to 8 hours, you feel the more rested. They've done, Harvard, I think at Harvard, they've done this study, and only 5% of people can sleep about 6 hours or less. So 5% of population. So everyone else who thinks that way, they should really, reevaluate their thinking about whether they can do it or not.
Okay, cool. And do you think, is that true about sleeping like earlier as well than rather than later and getting the same hours?
Oh, absolutely. I felt a difference. I don't know. I haven't actually looked into it to see why that's the case. It may be because of the light. And if it's not, blacked out, and there's light coming into your room, I make sure actually my room is absolutely dark. Like there's zero light until I wake up. But if that may be the case for people who go to bed a little bit later, and then they have to wake up, let's say at 4 a.m. because of the light, and then sleep, or not even waking up, but at 4 a.m. let's say, or 6 a.m. let's say the light's coming out, and that would shift their circadian rhythm. And so that's why their sleep is not the same quality as, let's say, going to bed earlier.
Okay,
I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
I found as well, since I've been sleeping more and going to bed earlier, that I've had crazy dreams. And is that from like being in a deeper sleep, do you think? Or
I bet. And the more, I think that's another thing about the deep sleep is that, like, when you don't get enough hours of sleep, you have less of that level 4 of sleep, and then that's when a lot of great things happens for body. A lot of toxins from brains are released, and they get all these neurofunctioning systems that are supposed to be optimized. They happen during sleep. So if that's we're not giving it enough hours, then we're just gonna wake up and not be as high performance as we want to be.
Okay, cool. And I guess the last thing I wanted to ask about sleep is, I know a lot of people, they're on their laptops or they're on their phone in bed, as soon
Right.
before bed, and also as soon as they wake up in the morning. I know I use Flux on my laptop, so the
Oh
screen
yes, me
changes
too.
color. Yeah.
Mhm.
Is there any specific recommendations that you'd have on switching off TV and devices and things like that a certain time before bed, or what's your
Yeah,
view on that?
2 hours before bed.
Yeah.
No more blue lights. 2 hours before bed.
Yeah.
And then if you do have to, I know some people, they don't, their alarm is their phone, so they have to maybe set an alarm or check out their phone. And I really don't think anyone has to do that. But hey, if someone thinks that way, they can also set, I can't think what it's called. It's called the night shift on iPhone.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
can also set that on. I've seen some people invest in these orange glasses.
Oh yeah. Some of
You've
my
seen
clients
that?
have them. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can do that too if that's helpful. There's a shield for your phone you can buy.
Okay.
So
Cool.
there's so many different things you can do, and
Yeah.
but just I mean the cheapest way is to like not look at your phones and
Yeah.
computer 2 hours before sleep,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Totally. Instead of having all these crazy things.
Right.
Yeah, totally. Okay, awesome. So I guess the next thing is around your diet. So what's your philosophy around diet, and what are certain things that you've done to be able to hack that?
Right. Yeah. So I found having absolutely zero sugar
Mm,
in my diet has helped me with my sleep and my performance.
okay.
And I didn't say carbs; I said sugar, by the way.
Yeah.
And just having low carbs is also great. And then I think I have that more of a holistic view on diets, because there are certain criteria for, let's say, ketogenic diet. You want to be in ketosis. You go for, let's say, 30 grams of carbs every day for, it can take about 5 days to about 5 or 6 weeks to get into ketosis. But then if someone's starting from, let's say, 7 or 6 donuts a day, and then they just ask them to just say, hey, we want you to go 30 grams of carbs today.
Yeah.
And that's just so not possible
Yeah.
for most of the people. So what I would do, I would just ask people, just say, hey, where do you stand right now? And again, like if the diet involves eating 6 times a day, I don't think that's a high performance diet for someone who's a business owner, who's a mom. I wouldn't say that's a very beneficial thing. I think
Yeah.
that's good for a bodybuilder
Yeah.
if they want to do that. And I think there are actually studies on that too, of
Yeah.
how beneficial it is. And so again, just figuring out where they stand, and then just say, how can we shift it toward and I found shifted toward ketosis, but hey, doesn't have to be the full ketosis.
Yeah.
If they can get into, I found some people. I actually just recently spoke with a couple of people who wrote books on slow carb and low carbs and all these different diets. And I've seen people with, let's say, 150 grams or 200 grams when they do Brazilian jiu-jitsu or some sports they do, and you said you do powerlifting,
Yeah.
they still get to experience the high performance and just fat burning zone of being on ketosis,
Yeah.
and still get to do whatever they're doing as in terms of business, family, work, and a lot of other things.
Yeah, yeah. And I know for me, I guess it's different from person to person as well,
Of
but I
course.
know for me, when I was doing, I haven't been doing it recently, I need to get back into it, but when I was doing just my carbs before and after my training,
Right.
and then like my first few meals of the day would just be like some protein, fats and veggies basically.
That's right.
And I lost like 45, almost 50 centimeters off my body within a month.
Yeah.
And I didn't lose much weight, which was good because I was losing the centimeters. So I was changing my body, but not dropping
Right.
any weight. So I was
Right.
keeping muscle as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like my body works well on low-ish carbs, but
Mm-hmm.
but if they get too low, I'm just a cranky bitch. So,
So I wonder, now I'm just curious, how low did you get with carbs?
uh, they weren't that low, but then I've had times where before competing, for example, where I have to cut weight, so I have to be a certain weight for comp. And I've had times where I've lost like a few kilos within a few days. And I went like no carbs for a couple of days. So it was just literally like protein, fats. For a couple of days I had carbs from veggies, but then I had a day or two with like no carbs at all.
Yeah.
And I was not good.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I know. And carbs, I think even for people who are taking creatine, they said like there's some studies that said creatine needs carbs and needs glycogen of body. So, and even if it's not, I've seen studies on how carbs contribute to performance.
Yeah.
For lifting especially.
Yeah.
And one of my mentors, Lewis, he's the founder of Keto Gains, and he's huge. I mean, this guy's huge, and he's been on keto he's been on low carb lifting for the past about 15 years.
Yeah.
And it has worked for him. So I guess it goes back to what you were saying, like figure out what works for you, right?
Yeah.
And ask your coach as well. Yeah,
totally. I think for me as well, the day that I was really cranky was when I wasn't eating enough calories as well. Then the next day I actually had no carbs at all, whereas the day before I'd had it from my veggies. The next day I had no carbs at all, but I was eating like dark chocolate. I was having bacon, chicken, nuts, and I had more calories that day. I actually lost more weight, but I wasn't cranky. Like I got through the day fine. So
And I think that's super important, because think about it. Let's say you have a competition that's worth being cranky for, if you want to, let's say, lose body fat.
Short-term goal.
Right. But if you have a business that you're running, if your goals are different, then it's not worth it. Like you go to a meeting that's important for you and just be cranky because of your diet, right?
Yeah.
And so that's one of my focus. Can we feel satiated all day?
Yeah.
Because we don't want to feel cranky. We don't want to feel grumpy because of the diet. And so I appreciate that. Yeah. I totally get it.
It's got to be sustainable, right?
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And so what about exercise then? How important, and obviously what someone does exercise wise is going to be different depending on their goals, but how important do you think is moving your body relating to your energy and your productivity and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I found, I do my workouts first thing in the morning, so before anything else, and I do it fasted. It's not totally fasted. I have a coffee, coconut oil right before, and I have some BCAA, coffee, and then coconut oil, and then so it's kind of fasted. It's not a lot of calories. It's probably about like 300 calories, and then I found it to be super helpful for my mornings when I do my workouts, because I come out fresh, and I have this, I guess my body is oxygenated fully, and I just want to, start my day. Whereas another day where, say, I don't wake up, or if I don't go to do my workouts, I kind of just feel like, oh, it's morning, and like, what am I doing? So it's so different. And I found it, and some people actually, it's interesting. Some people found it to be, let's say, better for them to do it at, let's say, 1 p.m. in the afternoon. But definitely something I definitely tell a lot of clients is that, okay, definitely don't do it at least 2-3 hours before bed, because then your sleep is just going to be distorted.
Okay.
Right.
I need to change that then.
Okay.
Yeah, I think usually, so I lift quite heavy. Like my deadlift's like over 300 pounds. So
that's awesome.
I can't even remember the exact amount. But maybe 350, or I can't remember. But
in the evening?
Pardon?
You do it in the evening?
Yeah, so because I work during the day, if I took a break, if I did it first thing in the morning, I wouldn't have enough food in me to be able to lift heavy.
Right.
If I did it partway through the day, then it would cut up my, like having to get to the gym, come back, would
Right.
cut those hours. So I usually do around 4:30 in the afternoon, but I can be in the gym for an hour and a half to 2.5 hours.
That's awesome.
So it can get quite late, but I find, probably that early or late afternoon kind of stage would be okay, but not too late at night, which I do sometimes. So
Right.
but I also walk in the mornings most of the time. So and I used to have a lot of people say, oh, walking's crap, and like you should do high intensity intervals and you should lift heavy and whatever. I think walking's great, because not even from like, okay, maybe it's not the best thing to do for fat loss or for whatever, for fitness or whatever, but for me it's like, I know someone said to me all the time, motion creates emotion. And so I find if I'm walking first thing in the morning, it's my time out for myself. I'm not waking up to my kids arguing with each other. It's time out for me. I see the wallabies everywhere. It's just a beautiful way to start the day. And I practice gratitude in my head as I'm walking. Yeah. And then I might do it after I've walked and been present and had that time to myself. Then I might do a live stream as well. And I just get back feeling good. Like you said, it's just a good start to the day.
Right. Do you ever do walking meditation?
No, I don't think so. Okay. What do you mean by that?
So it's you can do guided meditations that when you do it during walking.
Okay.
And cool. I've done it, and it's just great. It's great. And I've also, I also do that gratitude thing. I have this little clicker. Actually, I have it right here.
Oh yeah, cool.
And I just walk around like this crazy guy, just playing, and with just counting gratitudes.
Yeah, awesome.
And what I like about it is, so you said you do it in your head. Yeah. I like to see it. Let's say by the end of the day, how many things cool. I've been grateful.
I count on my fingers. No, but it's good.
Yeah, that works too.
Yeah, that's
Definitely.
Cool.
Yeah.
With the guided meditation, is there a specific app or something that you use?
I think I can provide a link. I think I can give at least one of your viewers just a free 30-day just Headspace membership. Yeah. I've done it on Headspace, and I just recently met the founder, so that's why I think I learned about their story, and I love it. I love what they're doing. That's and other things they can do. I mean, really, sometimes I think I shared on a different podcast. For meditation and walking, there's certain things that you don't even need anything. Like if you just feel your body, feel your soles of your feet against against whatever texture you're walking on, and just feel your shoulders on your trunk. Just kind of sensing your body. I think that would be enough.
Yeah, totally.
Walking. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. That's awesome. Yeah, I've used Headspace before.
You did? Okay.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah. I think it's cool. And I've recommended it to some of my clients too.
That's awesome.
And I'm actually qualified in hypnosis, so I do guided meditations with people sometimes as well.
Yeah.
I had a retreat in Thailand a couple of months ago, and every morning we started with, before I got up, everyone was out there journaling. And then after that, I do a guided meditation for about half an hour. I never timed it, but it always ended up being about half an hour. It was funny because a plane would come over as soon as I'd finished every morning. And it was like not timed. It was so cool. And now when I do like VIP days, and also I'm going to start it with my assistant, we're going to meditate first thing in the morning. It just clears the energy. Like it just feels so good.
So good.
And then my assistant and I are going to, in that afternoon where people usually have that slump, we're going to go for a walk and then come back so we can be more productive as well.
Yeah, I think so you do meditation first thing in the morning or after you walk?
So usually, like if it's with my assistant, it'll be around 9 a.m. But sometimes I do in the morning. Sometimes I do before bed. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. I found it to be my secret weapon, secret
Yeah.
sauce for productivity as well.
Yeah.
To just have that, and then I think I decide better on what I'm doing for the rest of the day. So
Yeah.
you said that,
Cool.
and I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
my friend's Buddhist, and she taught me some Buddhist chanting as well. So I have like a meditation space. I'll have to send you a photo
Yeah.
on my top deck, and there's a beautiful view, and
Wow.
I have Buddha there and candles and everything, and
What?
have the Buddhist prayer beads and do the chanting. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm already excited to see those. It's awesome.
yeah, yeah. Um, so. Okay, so we talked about those three areas. What else would you say? Are there any other areas or particular hacks that you've done to be more productive, to build your energy and that kind of thing?
Yeah, so I think sleeping, eating, exercises are the main things that I work with, and then those I found once you take care of those, then your productivity just gets this boost.
Yeah,
That's so different, and I. It's just interesting because when I said at 1 p.m. I think that okay, I've got a lot to do, and I just okay, I have so much energy, I don't know what to do with it, and it's just such a great thing to have as opposed to thinking okay, you have these tasks to do on that day, but you don't have the energy to do it, you don't have the motivation,
yeah,
and so in those moments I would say, in addition to sleeping, exercising, and eating, so there are certain things you can do. The qigong, I don't know if you heard about it. There's so many different tools that are out there. Something I've just recently been doing is the TM meditation. I don't know if you heard about it.
yeah. I have, but I don't know much about it. I'm
Yeah,
interested.
I'm learning too. I'm learning. It's so many of my mentors are saying they do TM meditation. That's like their best thing that they've learned, and I'm like, okay, I gotta learn this.
So
And
what is it exactly? Like, yeah,
yeah, so I'm right now I'm learning, and so from what I'm understanding is that you they say that they told me that the first at least couple of sessions you got to do it with a certified person,
okay.
and so they teach you. And I've had it with this meditation teacher, and it was not the same. It was a different feeling that I got from just meditating. And I also do, so in addition, so I do meditation, just, regular meditation. I started doing TM, and then there is another thing you can do if you listen to binaural beats.
Yeah,
We've done that. So alpha beats, let's say, you get alpha beats just circulating around your brain.
yeah.
That's another form of meditation too. So the TM meditation is not like any of those.
Yeah.
It's different.
Okay.
And I've heard authors use it because it allows them to be more creative. And Jerry Seinfeld, I've heard so many people that talk about it. And it's this idea of you kind of I guess transcending and just going a little bit above where you are, and then being able to kind of have a lot more awareness because of that. That's my understanding from it.
Yeah, cool. When I was doing guided meditation in Thailand, one of my clients had an out-of-body experience where he was
really?
looking down on himself.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it through your, did it just happen, or was it intentional?
No, it just happened. I didn't.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Can your client recreate it, or is it just?
I think he's done a lot of that kind of work, and he's the one that has the glasses, and he's told me about the binaural beats or whatever it's called as well. So
that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. I want to look into that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So are there any kind of last I guess tips or things that you wanted to add?
Yeah, I don't want to overwhelm people, so I think it's been good, talking. Some of these things people are gonna hear, like the glasses we talked about, the clicker, things that people just gonna be like, what is going on? And there's just so much more to do, and so I think those are some simple things. Everyone can get started, very affordable as well. And again, meditation, I would say, if I were to sum it up, just eating habits I think you can control them. You can control your willpower with meditation.
Yeah.
And then, so have meditation maybe in three things. I would say meditate. And then second thing I would say, go after actually creating things that, let's say creating energy, creating excitement, as opposed to just waiting for them to come. And there are hacks for that as well.
Yeah.
And then third thing, I always like to have a third thing as well. So third thing I would say, if you have goals with your diet, with your exercises, I would say start from where you're at, as opposed to just say, hey, everyone else done this, I've got to do that too. No, I think better to just start from where you're at and just figure out what your average is, figure out what your normal day looks like, and then get as close as you can to the ideal. I think that would be the summary of what we talked about.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. And I think it's important for people to not realize that, oh, great, now I've got to add more in. I've got to do meditation and I've got to do this and I've got to do that.
Right.
Instead of thinking I've got to add more in, it's actually just like, for example, what we were talking about before of walking whilst you're meditating or practicing gratitude or whatever. You can kind of clump things together. So, and then once you get in these habits of things, if you change them one thing at a time, it's not going to feel overwhelming. It'll just be your norm, and it makes the other things easier as well.
Yeah. And also, if you think about what's the cost of not doing them?
Totally. Yeah.
Right? What's the cost of not meditating? I mean, if you find yourself in 3 years, you've done so many hours in something that's not worthy, you don't feel fulfilled, that's, I think, costly. Spending 10 minutes every day on meditation, I don't think that's costly.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. Well, thanks so much. It's been great chatting with you. Where can people find you if they want to connect with you?
Yeah, so I'm pretty active on my Facebook pages, on my Facebook profile and my Facebook page. And then, so that's Arvin Khamseh. And then
Can you spell that for everyone as well?
Sure. It's Arvin. That's my name. And then my last name is Khamseh, Kham as in Michael, S as in Sally, E as in Echo, H as in Hotel.
Yeah, awesome.
And for my website also, it's arvinkhamseh.com. So you can find me there. You can sign up for my mailing list over there. I would love to send you some cool tips and good stuff that I'm up to. And just thank you for having me.
That's awesome. Yeah, thanks so much. Awesome. Okay.